welcome back to Men 101 again. Tony D'Amico, Nick Bass, and the awesome Derek Friday. How's it going, Derek?
I'm good. I feel like you always pause when you come to my name.
Yeah, well, you know, you're that type of guy.
Yeah, he runs right through ours and just goes
Yeah,
straight
you're
to
meaningless. You guys are meaningless. What are you talking about? Huh?
I'm high maintenance, I guess, maybe.
That's exactly what you're
But I
high
maintain
maintenance. Derek's
myself.
high maintenance. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, big topic today.
Mm-hmm.
Always big topic.
Always big topics. Tough topics. PTSD today.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a big one. Got a couple of great guests in. Enrico Colantoni,
Nice.
and big actor, big advocate for PTSD, and a close good friend of mine also, an actor, Adam Lolliker, come in from Vancouver actually to talk about this. We're going to show a clip of his little movie there, and stuff like that. So yeah,
Nice.
going to bring up a topic that we probably shouldn't talk about.
Oh, God.
You know,
Yeah.
the U.S. election. Who got it right, by the way?
Tony.
Tony
Tony got it
D'Amico.
right.
Totally.
Not that he's a Trump fan, but he got it right.
No, my gut was telling me Trump, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was cheering for Hillary.
It'll
But
be an interesting next first 6 months when Derek's face. It's always amazing, Derek. That's why you get the pause, Derek, because we know there's something going on with
I
you in the head.
can't, because I don't know what more can be said about.
The circus?
Yeah, I mean, it's really what it is.
yeah, well,
And it goes a little deeper. It's jarring, but I think that what this election, the outcome, showed the rest of the world is something that, unfortunately, I already understood about.
Yeah,
that.
you know, the outcome so far hasn't been positive among the people that come out to the streets and they're demonstrating and stuff like
Yeah.
that. It's you know, it's a tough one. You know, he's portrayed himself as like something that existed 70, 80 years ago.
A misogynist racist.
Something like that.
Let's call it.
Something
Beyond,
like that,
like
you know?
he's made it okay for everyone who is ignorant and completely undereducated and who have never traveled outside of their state to
Even if they are,
be,
even if they were and are educated, but he's made it that they can come out
and say
and say
anything,
and
yeah.
do what they
Openly,
want,
yeah.
you know?
and think that it's okay.
And I think it's
well,
okay.
there's
It's
some
not.
videos going on Facebook that's showing that people are starting to say certain
Yeah, there's a
thing
lot. A lot has
Yeah.
come up.
Voicing their opinion.
their
Yeah.
opinion.
You
Which
know,
is
he's like
kinda-
he's turned the clock. It looks like he's turned the clock backwards.
Yeah.
We can only really find out what he will end up doing in the first 6 months.
Well, when you think about the when you think about when you think about the fringe groups that he's targeting and has targeted in his campaign, it's a real visceral feeling. What just happened?
You know, maybe we can get him to come to Canada and be on Men 101. And we
I don't
can
know
really,
that I really want him
bring
to
him on the
be.
show.
I don't think that he'll survive on
On the
Men
show?
101
With us?
in a
no women
room
you could
with
grow.
me.
Why would
But the
Yeah,
problem he
sure.
has with us is there's African American or African Canadian, a Greek, an Italian, and an
Yeah.
Irish guy. He's in a lot of trouble.
And there's the gay thing. He's kind of messed up.
You know?
So yeah, it's just it's all gross. That said, I think that the darkest days really make room for some of the lightest, most amazing things to come through. So
Time will
let's see what
tell.
happens.
Listen, you know, I
Time will
mean,
tell.
he, you know, I mean, he came out. He's changed U.S. politics forever.
Yeah.
And then we were talking about it earlier on that, you know, Ronald Reagan done it. Like he became a cowboy actor and all of a sudden he had a good role. I look at Trump as the Margaret Thatcher now of the US.
Why is it Margaret Thatcher?
Well, Margaret Thatcher ran the UK, the British government for a long time, and they called her the Iron Lady. And in Ireland, they brought in a policy in Ireland at one point, in Northern Ireland where I grew up, was a shoot to kill policy on Catholics because of the troubles
Right.
that were going on. So, like, it's a dangerous game. Anyway, enough about Mr.
on
DJ.
a lighter note.
On a lighter note. Let's move on
Right.
from Mr. Trump. Yeah, so we get back to our really heavy topic of
Yeah.
PTSD.
Yes.
So, like, I mean, this topic, from my only understanding, is, and I've been talking to Adam as you come up in the car, but it always seems to be played more on war vets.
War vets,
Yeah.
But it actually can happen to regular people, not even being in war. It could be in a car crash.
Any
could
traumatic
be
Some
any
situation
traumatic.
that happened.
Yeah, like you know, I mean, it gets a lot of highlighted a lot by the war vet thing. So we're going to try and highlight a lot by that, plus any other ways this can be brought on. Like I have a cousin here that had, he's a mechanic, and he was on the floor working on a work for a big mechanic shop. He's doing some work in a car. And guy came in the garage, came around the corner. I didn't see him lying on the floor, ran right over the top of him.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like and bad injuries, but can't walk onto the parking lot of the garage now. Can't see.
He freaks out.
Really,
Like
Freak loses it.
Oh,
That's
wow.
a
Loses
form of it, and I mean,
course.
what some of what I was reading, some of what I read, was that some of the most common, yes, as you said, it's a lot associated with war vets now, but it's very common amongst those who were abused as children.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. And rape victims,
Well, this is
hugely
it.
traumatizing experiences.
Yeah, that's
They
what
say
it
like
is.
7.8% of Americans will experience
Americans.
PTSD sometimes in their lifetime.
That's staggering.
It's
Staggering because you only think like being in a war zone. This thing, but it's not like I didn't remember today until we were talking about it earlier. My cousin, and he's a fanatic for motorcycles. Can't get on a motorbike near a car. He hasn't been in work for 2 years.
You know, it's funny that you said that 7%, right?
7.8%.
7.8%.
One will affect some.
will have an experience with
PTSD.
PTSD in their life.
In their life.
Right.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that is actually a little bit higher.
Well, no, for the people that are in the, like, it says 30% of men and women who have spent time in war zones experience
Right.
PTSD. So, I mean, it's high. I guess they're saying in general.
It's
public.
high.
Yeah, 7.8% in general public. But, I mean, the war is obviously, people that fight the war are obviously
Right,
see it
actually,
much
that's what I'm
more
saying,
often
it's-
than regular.
Well, the highlight is more
Exactly.
seems to be more on the war side of things when they come back from war and them big stressful situations. But again, it's not necessarily the war. It's the war, but it's other things that can bring it on. That's what's shocking to me.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is that I wonder if it's actually a little bit higher if we're saying that if we understand that PTSD is actually
hurry
a
up there.
gamut of trauma and the effects of that trauma, is it actually a little bit higher is what I want to ask
probably-
our
It's
experts.
an
Yeah.
interesting thing. But I mean, like, before we go to break, I want to remind everybody it's Movember for men's prostate cancer. So we're all in blue. And Derek forgot to wear blue, but he has blue socks
I have blue
on.
socks on.
So that counts. Right, Derek?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I got called out.
You got called it.
I
Yeah,
have blue socks.
No jack, but anyway, for all the men out there for Movember, we grow beards, but you know.
They
it is.
actually shave
Anyway,
most
listen, come right back after the break. Catch us after the break with some great guests here. PTSD. See you in a moment. And we're back here. Guys, welcome to the guests, Enrique Colantonio. Enrico and Adam
You said it great before.
I said it great
Before I was
before.
here, but I'm
Here's
making you
the
nervous.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. Every time there's a
Start all
guest,
over again.
every time there's a guest here,
That was
everybody
great, though.
knows this.
Yeah.
Every time I bring on guests with names, I always get their names wrong.
But you said it perfectly before I was.
It's crazy.
But he messes up the Italian ones. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Always the Italian
But
names.
anyway, yeah, a bunch of funny guys today.
But I'm
So,
sorry, we sort of lost
Adam,
Adam's
we missed
introduction.
Adam.
Well, because I interrupted.
It's okay, you can interrupt us. You're a superstar. Just everybody knows. Enrico was on Flashpoint for a long time. He's
Sure.
a big Canadian actor
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
We're and like a big Toronto Maple Leafs fan. Studying
Sorry.
acting
My
since
condolences.
Sorry.
way back.
No,
Yeah,
just
we-
I just learned it from
yeah.
Montreal.
What you should
Just
be.
shoot me, no?
Just shoot me.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah.
This guy coming back to you now? Is that what you said?
No, I was like, no, huge. I love just shoot me. So yeah, it was.
I thought we were talking about the Leafs.
So,
No, sorry.
you guys are great.
Yeah.
Canucks fan. You're not a Canucks
No,
fan.
I'm a
Sorry.
Leafs fan.
Sorry, I'm
It's all right. You can take over. Listen,
like-
you're the star.
I'm
man.
buddy. Stop saying that.
It don't matter.
I'll just come out of my shell.
And,
And you don't want
oh,
that.
there we go. Hey, listen, I can leave the set and you guys know.
Buddy,
You know
la,
what I'm saying?
start singing.
So, and Adam's a really close friend and actor too from Vancouver, who's actually he actually done a movie about PTSD, and his brother's actually a Canadian war vet. He's in on tour at the minute, or is he
He's
finished?
on tour now. He's stationed in Edmonton. He's basically working his way up the ladder. He's training soldiers now. So he's a new father too. He just had a daughter.
Oh,
so that's pretty,
congratulations.
so that's pretty
That's
cool.
great,
Yeah.
yeah.
But he did a tour in Afghanistan about 2 years ago. So
Wow.
he was
Yeah.
there 9 months.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
2 years ago, after the war was over. That's
Yeah, it was.
crazy.
I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't talk too much about what he does.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
But I mean, like you said, like and you're short. We're going to show a clip of your trailer in about 30 seconds, so
Mm-hmm.
people can get out and see it, and then we'll get in a deep conversation because you know you're a big advocate for this stuff, Enrique. Yeah, tough topic, boys. But it started off pretty happy here. Like the happiest we've been in
And
18
we
shows.
needed it. And we needed the little bubble, the
Well,
bubbliness.
Here's the upside of it is mental health is an issue that everybody's talking about now, and does it fall into the umbrella of PTSD? If it falls under the umbrella of mental health, it's getting a lot of attention. Absolutely. Unfortunately, the suicides are getting a lot of attention in the military, paramedics. I was telling Adam that nobody is really aware that such a high percentage of suicide rate comes from paramedics within the first respond, within the emergency
The
services.
guys themselves.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know,
Yeah.
we're going to come back to that thought in one second. We're just going to watch a clip of the trailer
Yeah,
here
cool.
real quick so we can get an idea of this stuff and see what Adam's put together for us. Let's take a look.
This is salvation.
All right, let me see if I've got this right. You were in a pretty shitty situation, and you made a bad decision, and you're not happy that you have to live with it. Them too.
It's okay. I get it. Wait here.
Hey, refill over here, huh?
I want some of this.
On 3, I'm going to push down hard. 1, I'm Corporal Smith. I'm a medic with 8th Platoon at FOB Spurwingar. 2, you? Who you with? 3.
Very, very well done. Adam. Hard hitting,
Thanks,
but
man.
I,
Yeah.
you know,
I'm
just-
still-
I
I'm
can
still
like,
affected
I
by
can,
it,
I can
yeah.
see the tears coming in the eyes.
Yeah.
But listen, even me watching that, I just like I could get the goosebumps, and I'm thinking, this is like. You brought up mental health, and we done a show a while back on mental health. Explain when you talk about the umbrella of mental health. You
Yeah.
think it falls like this definitely?
Well, see, here's the thing. You had mentioned something how easily anybody could suffer from post-traumatic stress.
right.
Any trigger could happen. That rape. For God's sake, marriage could trigger something like. I hate to be glib, but
It's
you know what I mean.
happening.
Yeah, but it's like it's anything. So anybody is susceptible to it, but I mean, Adam is clearly an advocate for the military, and I'm the spokesperson for an organization called the Tema Contra Memorial Trust that really embraces the education and the awareness aspect of post-traumatic stress among first responders. So, yes, in fact, people suffer mentally. Everybody has that. You could experience an accident and suffer from it. We're talking about the people who deal with it accumulatively every day over a 20-year history. Every day in 2 tours, 3 tours, that constant effect on your psyche, repeated over and over and over and over and over again. Now, you could suffer from PTSD for a day and a half because of an accident and the election. I'm sure there are a lot of people suffering from PTSD today, but it's not accumulative.
Right.
It's not something that's happening throughout your life and you have to deal with.
Right. This is so. And you mentioned first responders. Are you saying suicide? You saying they commit suicide because they have to come
Yes,
across
sir.
this?
Imagine what a paramedic has to do, right? There's an accident, and something as benign to us is like it's an accident, but you never imagine that they come across a car and the baby seat is empty. They're the ones who have to find that baby. Those are the things that they have to deal with. It's not just,
And that, understand it's it's something like that for sure.
again,
would wreck
over
your-
and
yeah.
over and over and over again. And what the difficulty is that they don't have the infrastructure or the support within the emergency services themselves, or in the military.
Quick question: Does that I'm assuming that actually goes across the board when it comes to first responders, so not just ambulance EMTs, but
police officers,
police officers,
yeah, exactly. For sure.
911 responders.
Yeah, as well.
And you can even go as far as an emergency room doctor, a nurse.
Wow.
You can start to feel, like as we always talk about, you can start to feel the mood coming down now, because it's like it's a heavy topic to talk about.
But it's the stigma that's killing them.
Yeah.
Within the emergency services, the stigma that's attached to it. It's your granddad, how he dealt with it differently than.
Yeah, I mean, a big part of it. I mean, both my grandfathers were in the military. They served, and both were alcoholics. That's how they dealt with it. That's how a lot of people deal with it to this day, unfortunately, and that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's something that I think the military and the government need to address. There's, I made this film to bring awareness.
Hold on to that thought,
Yeah.
Adam. We're going to come right back after break, and we'll continue with Adam and Enrico. It's a tough topic. Come back after the break. And we're back here. Thanks very much. We always have great conversations, and we go to break. We have to record this one. I mean, when not tell us to see catch us all right. But Adam, you were saying there before the break that the heaviness silence.
Grandfather.
His two grandfathers.
The two grandfathers, and they dealt with being alcoholics, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've met plenty of soldiers when I was researching for the film and writing. I met a lot of soldiers who I won't name, but would talk about how they would go to alcohol and drugs to deal with their loneliness and their trauma. And that to me just didn't sit right.
So what do you think the government should do? Is it talking about this? Does it help to talk about it? Like, it's very easy to say, when we talk about stuff as men, we start to open up more and things start to change. Instead of doing some type of narcotics or anything like that?
I think there's a therapy group in BC, in Vancouver, at the University of British Columbia, that does therapy sessions with soldiers. And I found this out through a documentary called War in the Mind, which Paul Gross narrated. And it's on PBS, it's online, you can watch it for free. And it really jumps into these tough, strong men opening up. And I think that's where lies the not the cure, but the way for them
way
to
forward,
the step forward of like sharing your feelings, and because these guys and these men and women are trained to be tough.
But do they? I guess to help them deal with it, they give them prescription drugs, no? Which is not an answer.
Sometimes, sometimes they just give them a check, a lump sum of money, and say deal with it.
Really?
Yeah, that's not going to help you deal with it.
No, that's not, and that's again why I made this film, and I'm learning as I go. Still, I'm no expert on this subject.
So it's what we're going to do. We have another little clip we're going to watch. Because it's such a.
I didn't know we were bringing clips.
Oh, you can watch them.
I had a clip. I had plenty of clips.
Listen, you have plenty of clips to watch. We'll be here all the next 2 or 3 years.
No, I just want to plug the documentary. I mean, this is a beautiful film.
Oh, you have a documentary clip?
Oh, yeah. I didn't bring the clip because I didn't know we were clipping.
Oh, we had to know. If I had known, listen, let's go and see this.
I've known you had known.
Now I'm in trouble, Enrico. Oh my God.
I want to be home.
It's okay.
I'm not okay. I'm not okay.
It's okay. I'm gonna figure something out. We're gonna get you some help.
Again, Adam, and also a powerful performance.
Thanks, man.
But we have to find a way of helping these individuals.
Well, again, nobody feels comfortable talking about this stuff. And certainly on the receiving end, government, anybody, a friend, a family member, it's just difficult to deal with anything dealing with mental health. Nobody wants to talk about it. Certainly having them talk about it is like, we're asking them to do a lot. But I agree. It's like without talking about it, without having a support group, without having an arena where they can come and feel safe and really, really discuss it. They don't, but again, they don't get it from necessarily from the people they work for. They certainly don't get it with the people they work with. And they, so what's the government going to do? They give them their checks and they move on. That it's just so limited.
It just seems like we always come back to this stuff. Men, there is no support for men, period, in the groups at all when it comes to any of our topics over the last
Yeah, well, the bunch of
16
topics
shows.
we've done right now, we're starting to see that there's not much
There's
Huge
not
gaps.
much
support and a
There's
lot of
huge,
stuff.
Very
yeah.
big gaps. But what about the military's responsibility in terms of having some sort of, because we know that, I mean, if you're sending people off to these horrific situations, we know what we're bringing them back with. Is there not some sort of, or has there been any discussion in terms of the military's responsibility in coping with?
Yeah, I mean, there's organizations like Wounded Warriors and True
They do
Patriot
some
Love
really great work.
and the Veteran Transition Network, and there's motorcycle highway rides out west in support.
But these are private organizations.
Yeah.
This isn't government funded. And I understand, I mean, you can always go back, you can just follow the buck, follow the dollar. It's budgetary.
Yes.
The Canadian military, I know for sure, has a budget that will employ a certain amount of soldiers. That's it. If one comes back and admits that they have a mental issue, they're the first ones that are going to go. Because we're paying you, we can't use you.
So they send you back again.
Get out.
No, they don't send. You're done.
You're done.
You're done.
done.
Get out.
Oh, you're done with them. They get
Oh,
they-
yeah,
they-
they
they-
can-
You,
Yeah.
if you are perceived,
That's why they
as-
don't say anything.
But they
Yeah.
get paid still.
They get
Or do
paid,
they
get-
but they.
But it's not
Certainly
even-
not enough to go take
No,
care
for
of and
sure.
lick your own wounds.
So then
you know?
basically
I'm
what
just saying
what I'm
they
hearing
do
is
take
that
care of them, or no? Like, do they just say,
they
okay,
don't
thank
care
you?
Look,
No.
look what's happening in the United States with the VA hospitals. They're there, lip service, but you need those Wounded Warrior campaigns. The general public is still doing more for these vets coming back from war than the government are.
Yeah.
They'll spend $250,000 equipping a soldier, every soldier, with everything they have, but they won't spend that money taking care of
Take care
them
of
when they
them.
come back.
When they come back, right?
I mean, in the States, I think the last stat I read was 22 soldiers a day commit suicide.
Wow.
And you don't hear about
in
that.
Canada, we don't even have stats.
No.
So
Yeah, we were
like-
trying to get some
Yeah,
statistics.
that's
on
why
that.
all the
Yeah.
stats
Yeah.
are from the
Yeah.
States.
Yeah.
It's nothing
It's the
for
don't
Canada.
ask,
One of
don't
the
tell
one of the
mentality.
things that my the organization I work with is actually trying to document the suicide rate among first responders. But you're right; it's so cloistered in the military, you're
Yeah.
not going to know because you know what? Once they're out, then they can deny anything. It's like I don't know why he took his own life. He's not with us anymore.
Right.
So we have established that, I mean, it's an uphill battle for those who are involved in the military. So what about us? What about people who are walking down the street who have postpartum stress? I mean, from anything, I mean, a car accident or some abusive relationship, where do we go?
I know I walked into a bank robbery once, and every time I walk into a bank, I think of that, and I don't freak out, but it triggers something, and I know for me, I had to go see a therapist for it.
Would meditation help?
Meditation,
Even let's say before you go to war, would meditation help?
I don't think anything can prepare you for what you see and live over there.
I
I
got
think
lucky
if
because I
everyone
seen a
was-
lot of stuff in Northern Ireland growing
Yeah.
up, and I got lucky, bro. It never affected me. I got really lucky because I didn't like the stuff that was going on there in the 70s and the 80s was horrific,
I'm sure.
Yeah.
horrific. You know,
I'm sure. But that's an interesting sort of way to look at it. It's like you imagine what Israelis deal with.
you're going to
every
get
day.
unlucky. This
know what
always
I mean?
happens to him. You
What?
got to wait. We're going to come back
Oh,
to break
getting
after break. Who that thought we'll be back after break? It's Enrique's turn today.
I always get cut off.
You get cut off all the time, Derek. back here with this heavy topic. We're just talking about it. We have also a police officer, as a friend that came across a young suicide, and he's having a rough time dealing with this at the same time.
Yeah,
but the thing is there places, or is there a website that people can look up? Is there somewhere somebody can go to help people talk about this
Sure,
stuff?
my organization does great. I mean, I don't know about the military, but Wounded Warriors does fantastic. We work with them all the time in tandem. But the Temaconter Memorial Trust, you could just go to tema.ca, and there's 800 numbers there. And what Vince will do is that if you come and you're a policeman or a firefighter or anything, and you're not getting the support you need from within the services themselves, we've got a network of psychiatrists and psychologists across the country that we can easily direct you to help. If you're looking for help, you can definitely find it.
There's a Veteran Transition Network, which is in Vancouver. I'm not sure if there's one out here east, but there possibly is. Wounded Warriors, True Patriot Love. There are legions all over the country, which has got that family vibe going on. But I think one of the most important things is these people need a place where they can go,
and feel like they're safe.
Yeah, and feel like they can open up when they're ready. It's something I'm working on with my father eventually. Is I'd like to open a place like this where people can transition back into
society,
normal life, society, get a job, be happy,
And we were just talking there, and you mentioned the worst question to ever ask one of these individuals is what happened over there.
Yeah.
Because that just that would probably just trigger something even, set them even further back, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I remember interviewing a soldier, and I asked him a question that you're not supposed to, and that's if you'd taken someone's life, and I didn't know that. And he just looked at me and, he told me the whole story, like he was reliving it. And I've still tried to reach out to him. I haven't heard from him since the film was finished.
Probably because he sees you, he takes a look at you, and all he remembers now is you asking him that question, and it might trigger, that would be a trigger, and then that's it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know he's living on a farm, and he's got a pet hawk. Which is cool because animals, in the U.S. especially, they put dogs with vets, and that seems to do some kind of help.
Yeah. Is that just in the States, or do that here also?
I'm sure they do it here as well. I mean, again, more things are documented down there than they are here, and I think that's something that could be worked on up here.
Up here.
Here's what's happening up here too. We've made a lot of progress. Ontario government just passed a law that anybody in the emergency services who suffer an injury while working is now eligible for workman's comp. So things like that. Before that, a year ago, you couldn't. If you got an emotional injury doing your job, you weren't allowed to collect.
So is this not just a physical injury?
It's mostly
psychological.
That's right. Now at least the Ontario government will say yes, your post-traumatic stress. Nobody likes to use disorder because they don't like to. But anyway, just the PTS of it, the occupational stress. Accumulative stress.
And this is the man show, but we talk about women after childbirth, some of them go through postpartum, right? And they have support and help for that, and women.
Sure.
So what's the difference with men when we come back from these places or things that has happened? It's
not just men. I mean, yes, we're on a Men 101, but it affects. I mean, anybody in the emergency services, female soldiers, but I don't know if it's unique to just the male issue.
No, I don't think it would be unique to male, but it seems to be more male. It seems to be that you see more men have this issue.
What's we all grew up with some kind of John Wayne syndrome. You know what I mean?
Well, what's unique to men is that men don't talk like how women do.
No, they don't.
Period.
Right.
So
Men don't open
and they
up.
understand their emotions a lot better than
They'll
men,
do
right?
that. They'll fight.
fight.
They'll do the things that.
Right.
Well, they say in the States that 10.4%, twice as likely women, 10.4% of women are more likely to have PTS than men. 5% men, 10.4% women.
But
those are the people that actually come out and say I'm
exactly
suffering.
yeah.
You can take a. That's why statistics
But
are
it's
so.
the American stat.
I understand,
Yeah,
but
but I
who's going to
understand.
say yes?
Yeah.
I suffer from.
That's the thing.
That's the thing. What you're saying is that men don't talk about
They don't.
No.
And
You
it's-
don't know.
and-
Those
and
stats are.
we have an ego
Although
anyway.
it's
Well,
interesting that it's
right.
that high.
Well, they're
but
trained.
It is higher. It's
Yeah.
much higher.
For sure, it's
Guaranteed.
definitely
And
higher.
when was this stat?
I don't know.
You know, so
Yeah.
like it's getting men to talk. Like maybe it's higher with men than it is women because women are more in tune with their emotions.
Right.
That could be something because we don't ever want to be looked down upon because we open up.
Right.
This is the thing, and it's from, and then your parents, as we go back, you bring it up. Boys don't cry. You're not
Yeah.
meant to cry because you're a boy. You're meant to be a pillar and a figure. You got to stand up, be strong. But now we're not. These are big things that are happening to us, and we have to be able to go to somebody
Yeah.
and talk.
I do love that there are conversations that are opening up because among the slew of politics on Facebook this week, one thing that I did see was a video that's gone viral, and it's literally just a video of boys and men crying, and it's about it's okay to cry, like have emotions as a boy, as a man, like let those emotions out. We're human beings, and I think it's just that mentality needs to change, and I think it's going to take a little bit of time.
For sure, it's going to take
It's
time.
happening. That's
It is happening, for sure.
There's one step on a 1,000-mile journey. You got to make that first step. You can't jump the 500 steps in. You must make the first step, and the first step is the most difficult.
Right.
But then you always learn something. You always say, "I wish I'd have talked about it years ago. I would have like the old saying, eat the frog.
Yeah.
The frog on the table. I eat the frog for breakfast. I'll do it at dinner time. I'll do it morning. Just eat the thing. We got to start. Men got to start opening up and coming out and opening up and talking about their feelings.
That's an analogy we don't use in North America.
Eat
Yeah,
the
I
frog.
was thinking, eat the frog.
Eat the frog, man.
I will
trying
eat
to
a
start-
frog.
He's trying to start a whole new thing.
Listen, eat the
Frog's
frog.
legs.
But listen, it's that thing that sits there in your stomach, and you don't want to deal with. It's that issue you never want to deal with, and you put it off, and you put it off, and then you say to yourself, "I wish I'd have done this 6 years ago."
Can I plug? I'm sorry.
Yes,
can
go
I,
ahead.
can I plug one thing on Facebook?
Absolutely.
My good friend Jamie McWhorter, who is a soldier in Newfoundland, wrote several books about his experience over there in Afghanistan, and now he spearheads this great thing on Facebook called PTSD Buddies. If you don't want to talk to somebody face to face and you think you have a problem, just like go on Facebook, join PTSD Buddies, and Jamie will reach out to you, and he can't shut up, so he'll just.
But that's all you want.
Yeah, but
That's
that's
it.
the
And
idea.
that's great.
Because sometimes it's easier to text it than to say it.
Yeah.
At least you're
That's-
opening up.
You're
Yeah.
opening up. It's
That's
a
a
start. It's a
start,
start.
right? Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. It's take the step.
Yeah.
I think in order for someone to open up, there needs to be a safe place for them to do that, and there needs to be.
You know, I'm sorry to cut you off, Adam, but
It's okay.
it was great having you two guys here. These topics run by that fast.
What?
We'll be right back
I know.
after.
We don't
want
wanna
to
go.
It's crazy. Thanks for tuning in, the boys, Enrique and Adam. Fucking great topics. You know, guys. We'll have you back again, boys.
Sure.
For sure. And we're back, and I actually going to keep the boys on for another segment here so we can talk more about this. And anyway, Enrique wants to plug his.
I do want to plug. We've
plug
been
his-
working on this documentary, my producing partner and I. It's called The Other Side of the Hero. You could go to theothersideofthehero.com. We have.
What's going on?
What do we
You're
have?
not
What do we have?
I know.
We have.
So what was that?
Sounds like this
we-
machine.
I'm like,
so
is
we
that
have-
my cue?
We have,
you
we
trying to
have
think of
a
actors'
television version, and we have a festival version,
Yeah.
like a
Yes.
whole hour and a half. Sorry, was that too loud?
No, it's good.
But of course, we're still trying to raise a little money. So if you just go to theothersideofthehero.com, it's a beautiful film.
And it's about.
Here's what it's about. It's about how the thesis is how television, first responders on TV, portray people in a way that inspires the masses to become those people. And once they become those people, they realize, oh, nobody talked about this, nobody talked about that, nobody showed me that on TV.
Right.
So we talk to actors who play, but more importantly, we talk to real firefighters and the chief of police from Halifax, and we talk to an NYPD cop who is still dealing with the effects of 9/11. We're talking to a former police officer who's now a screenwriter, and really just talking about the misconception that people have by watching this stuff, because often it's their only reference. So they think that those guys playing those things that's what police are like, or that's what firefighters.
And they
are
really
like.
don't know the backside.
They
of the
really
story,
don't know. So
how
they just
traumatic-
assume when they're in real life and they hear sirens going, they wonder, oh, they're probably going to a really cool call.
Right.
They
Glamorized.
can't imagine what
they
happens to
see.
the psyche, what they see.
I always-
you know what I mean?
I always see the accidents on the side of the road, and you see that people always slow down. To,
They want to see it.
what is like? And all you're doing is
I don't
causing
know.
an accident. Somebody needs to come up with a contraption that actually blocks for a good 30 or 40 feet, so you cannot see what's going on.
Yeah.
It's not like me.
Yeah.
You talk about being on your cell phone in the car. When you stop to look at an accident, you forget about the guy behind you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next thing you know, you're in a car accident. And next thing you know, you've caused a problem because you're not paying attention.
Exactly, and that same mentality gets us watching these television shows, and we make the equation that when we see it in life, oh, it's just like that.
Just like
I'm
that.
not saying it's a gross generalization. There are plenty of people who are smart enough to separate the two, but for the most part, when it's your only reference, you assume that they go home and everything is great, but
They don't.
It's interesting. The one guy we interviewed, Ken Senzel, who's now he was a police officer. Now he's a showrunner for a couple of TV shows down there. He talks about.
You're having a rough day.
I was so busy plugging it that I forgot what he said. Go ahead, Ken. Say something. I'm sorry.
I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to say.
Dude, just cover.
Listen,
Keep the ball going.
You're
Keep the
filming
ball-
on your short. Did it get into festivals? Did it do?
Yeah, the short, it's not released to the public yet because I'm still waiting on some festivals. I've gotten into about 6 or 7. So for a first film, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm quite proud of it. And, festivals, I've got the trailer on YouTube. I think you guys have the link. But it's Medic, a short film teaser, I believe, if that's
we can run it at the end of the credits.
Yeah.
That's not a problem. We can do that.
Yeah.
What about getting it into military establishments or stuff like that?
I think that's, once the festival circuit is done, the plan is, I've been talking to Wounded Warriors, True Patriot Love, en route with Air Canada to try and get it on their websites and on their airlines. I'm also looking at going around some legions in Vancouver and showing it to vets, just sharing it with them. I'll also be doing a public screening in Vancouver probably in March, and then eventually I'll probably just release it either on YouTube or Vimeo, and just
Have you any intentions or aspiring to make it actually into a feature, or maybe even a TV series?
A feature, maybe. It's funny. I'm talking with a prisoner right now in the U.S. and that's kind of more my focus. I mean, that's a whole other world. That's a whole other show. But I'm talking to a real life prisoner about sharing his story. So that's kind of the next project.
Okay.
But regarding
that's a not to cut you off, but that's
No.
a topic where you could get PTSD
exactly.
from
Yeah.
being in prison. And be locked
Well,
up in
Prison
a,
guards.
Yeah, prison guards.
High.
Yeah.
Right.
Correctional services.
Yeah.
Wow, I
Yeah.
could just imagine that.
High.
Yeah.
Yeah, these guys bring this stuff. You bring this stuff home to your families, and it's even harder on them too. It's like you really don't know the inside of what's behind all this.
I think it's important. I mean, I know why I made the film, and that was to kind of wake people up a little bit. I think we're in a time where people are just on their phones all the time, and they're afraid to look each other in the eye and just really figure out
The
what really
connections-
is going on. Yeah,
Well, the connection
it's
seems to
about
be
connection.
gone.
Yeah, that's the beauty of acting and film, is that you get to connect and
Well, I'm not surprised
tell a
that you
story.
suffered your own version of
Yeah.
post-traumatic stress, because
Yeah.
we are vicarious. We live vicariously through our characters, and it's hard to.
yeah.
to
I do
separate
have to say
sometimes.
though, I do agree that there is a loss, an element of connection that's lost with the phones and whatnot. However, I do think that in this day and age, it is so great that we do have the tool.
Of course.
Because just like the organization that you mentioned earlier, I forget the name, but the one that's on
Totally.
Facebook,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
such a
yeah,
great
yeah.
it's such a great tool for those, especially if you don't want to feel.
Oh yeah. I guess I'm more talking about like when you're actually having a conversation with someone and or you're on a date and come on guys, this all happened to us where a girl's like on her phone and we're right here. That's kind of what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's a hot mess. I totally agree.
Yeah, but that's the new generation, man.
Yeah.
That's what's going on.
I can't even say it's the new generation. There are people like
That's a good
Easy,
one.
man. Look up.
Look up, I'm right here. Wow.
But like I said, like we always find hard, heavy topics to talk about here, and it's great that we have like guys like yourselves that come on and help us understand
Experts.
better.
Yeah,
well, yeah, that's why. Like, I mean,
we're still learning.
Yeah, but
we're learning as we go.
We're
But I've
learning.
learned
We're
from
trying
you
to get it out
guys,
there.
so-
We're trying to get it out there. And like I've known you for quite some time now, Adam, and I've got great pleasure to meet Enrico on set. I got it right, Enrico. I got
you hit
it. So I'm working with him actually right now, which is absolutely awesome. And I happened to talk about the show and what we're going to do, and he was absolutely wanted to come on, and I'm like, listen, it's.
I mean, I love the whole premise of this show when.
Yeah,
because you're absolutely right. It's like you forget everybody else belongs to a club or a minority, but the man.
Not necessarily, yeah. It's just that
in a
it's
serious
easier access for women than men have for help.
Yeah, there's more. There's more
get the
access
short
for
end of the
women.
stick.
That's it.
That's
We
right.
get the
Why
short
isn't
end of
there a
the
male
stick.
version
Well,
of The
we're going to
View?
work on that. Listen,
Yes.
great.
This is
great.
it.
This is it.
The View.
Yeah,
The View.
Listen,
talk.
great having
We're
you
coming
guys
for you,
here.
The
We'll
View.
definitely have you
Now
back.
we're really going.
Now we're really going this time. Adam and Nico, thank you. We're back after the break with Joey.
Oh, you are coming back.
Oh, we have to come back. And welcome back. Here we're here with Joey Blusanovics. Did I get it right?
You got it right.
Hey,
Right on
I
the
got
nose.
it right, guys.
Celebration.
First time ever. Joey's in from Montreal. He's a fitness enthusiast and personal trainer. And he come in, he's got his own clothing line, so we brought him in there because it's a man show and we always want stuff for men. But just before we get into Joey's conversation, I want to just give a shout out to Mac in Toronto. Their main goal is to be on the front lines helping the homeless with clothing, food and day-to-day supplies. Our street team's focus is to raise funds to continue to supply you with gift bags. Go to www.gofundme.com/m.a.c Toronto Street Team. Help the homeless out there. We're all about helping everybody that we possibly can in this show. Please tune in. Anyway, back to Joey, something more light with Joey. Joey, how you doing?
Very well. How are you?
Well, very well. Welcome to the show.
It's great to be here.
Yeah, so give us a little information about what you do and
So basically, I'm a personal trainer. I would say I'm a fitness health enthusiast, but I have the clothing line as well. The clothing line and the training, they're kind of well correlated because the clothing line's athletic gear. And the vision behind the clothing line is really about unity and getting people together, working with different cultures, and really embracing diversity.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And is it strictly for men or women, or men and women, or?
So basically, the first SKUs that I've made in the last year have been not really just strictly men, but it's more of a men's style. So it really comes down to an athletic varsity style look, but it's all unisex. So everything is unisex in fit.
Cool.
Where can you find this?
Yeah, where can you find
So basically, I have a website. Just went live a couple days ago. It's called 01limited.com.
Almost like
And,
Men 101 here. Is
That's
that
it,
right?
exactly.
Go
Men
ahead. So what
101.
was the website again? Go ahead. Sorry. I cut you off.
01limited.com.
Cool.
And I also have Facebook, so it's facebook.com/01limited.
Cool.
And Instagram is 01limited. Very,
Oh, that's easy.
That's easy.
Very
It's-
simple.
It's consistent.
Cool, yeah, because you got like, do you know that Derek's a fitness enthusiast too?
Oh,
This is
really?
what I do.
Nice.
I want to know if you have leggings. I like
You know what? Honestly, so for me, I had leggings lined up, and the price that I was looking at originally for the order I was going to get was a great price.
Right.
And then after I added a few different designs to the leggings, the price almost doubled. So.
Oh.
Yes, I'm looking for a distributor that can offer me a better price right now, but I'm definitely looking at getting leggings and
Because Derek's all about his leggings.
compression,
I love a good
compression
legging. I
gear
can't
and
help
stuff
it.
like that.
But I want to understand what's happening here. So what do you have here for us?
So basically here I have, I'm just showing off a couple of the articles. This is from my my spring collection.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the Unity and Strength shorts. So basically, it's a cotton fit. It's very breathable, extremely comfortable in the gym. These ones aren't the best for leg day, I won't lie to you, because they're not the stretchiest, but they're super good to lounge in, and they're great to work out in if you're not doing leg exercises.
Okay.
For these here, though, this is my part of my spring training collection. So this was the summer line more than anything.
Right.
This was the spring collection, and basically I have, this is the last that I have left of my, my articles. This one's an extremely breathable cotton. It's sweat wicking. It's extremely light, and this one's great for the gym. So these are awesome. A lot of my articles are very similar to that.
Right.
And the articles that I choose are generally very breathable style stuff. But everything is designed, all the designs, all the logos are varsity or athletically inspired.
Okay.
So if
Cool.
you want to have a look, that's
And how did you get yourself into this field? Because like we also know you're a rapper,
yeah. Yeah.
which is you know,
I used to be, exactly. I still write. So actually right now I have an album, and I also have a folk album that I've... Folk, exactly, yeah.
folk album.
I took, exactly. Folk off. No, but
The
yeah, no, I
men's
have a... so basically, I mean, there's always been creativity in my blood. My mom's an artist. She's a painter.
Great.
She does a lot of beautiful pieces, and I think because I saw her doing a lot of artwork as a kid, it kind of inspired me to do my own thing, be
stuff.
creative, and
Seems to be a lot
you
of talent in Montreal that we actually don't see. Like you're saying, you do clothing lines. A couple of guys come in last time. We're in for Montreal singers, rappers, stuff like that. We see a lot of talent up there that it's not getting noticed again.
Yeah.
But,
Are these your designs?
So they're all my designs. Everything's original, and like I said, it's mostly based on, like I said, varsity or college style looking or jersey look. So I mean, the actual 01 itself is taken straight from a jersey,
Right.
and it's basically just running on the concept of one.
Made in Canada?
So actually, made in Honduras.
Okay.
A couple of the articles. Everything's processed in Canada. I don't outsource anything. I like to deal local.
Right.
Cool.
I like to get my hands into the projects as they're producing them. I like to see what's going on. I like to go to the warehouses and
Awesome.
choose the articles by hand. So they're not all the same company. Most of them are, there are a ton of different companies. Basically, I go in, I choose the articles that I like the most. I bring them to the gym. I have a couple athletes that I work with, a couple guys that are in the CIS, CFL level, and you know, a couple hockey players and stuff like that. So I throw them on them, and they test them out. They tell me which ones they like. We all have like a general discussion or a consensus which logo we like, and that's how I move forward with
Do you
stuff.
you said it's diversity, right?
Yeah.
Do you when somebody buys them, does anything go to any proper
So
organizations?
currently, one of my good friends, I'm currently in the works. So basically, what I want to do is offer him $1 for every article, and he has a foundation. It's called the Tristan Williams MS Foundation.
Okay.
And but I'm looking to expand a little bit further beyond that point. At this point, I haven't really dealt with too many organizations. It's kind of it's more local more than anything. I want to expand. I want to start working on fundraisers and larger events. I'm just in the process of kind of getting all the SKUs out and constantly dropping collections and new designs and working within the community, working with the athletes, and you know.
I like that you embroidered a lot of it.
Yeah, so I think embroidery, I like embroidery a lot because it's got that feel, you know,
Yeah.
and it doesn't wear out. It's there, it's timeless, it lasts, and you can put it through the wash 1,000 times and it's still going to be there just like it was when you first got it.
Good for you, man. I mean, it's nice to some young entrepreneurs that come out and they're putting the work in. It's
Yeah.
all about putting the work in and getting.
Absolutely.
It's-
You gotta
it's,
hustle.
I just
really
need
gotta
to
hustle.
feel these.
And taking the step, you know?
Mhm.
Sometimes you have the idea, but you don't go through it. So
Absolutely.
you're following through. It's a
Yeah.
good thing.
Well, I mean, for me, it's like I said, it's a matter of expression. I think that the fashion industry is a huge outlet for creative expression.
Right.
And the message really and the vision behind it is to unify people, you know, to break barriers, to cut down those classifications of race, gender,
Well, maybe we should get that stuff into
culture.
the States. They might be able to help them.
That's
down there
it,
in
you
the
know.
US, to change
They
a
need
few
it now
things.
more than ever.
They need it now
more than ever because they are divided.
They are you can
Blue
see
and
that
red,
in the world.
man. Blue and
That's
red,
just unbelievable. So
Yeah.
maybe send that stuff down.
Absolutely.
You know?
You know, I'm trying
Maybe
to
get shit done.
expand,
Yeah.
man. Trying to expand.
Listen, Joey, it's great to have you on the panel.
Yeah.
Great for you to come all the way from Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, guys, find Joey's information on the website, hook him up, he'll get you some clothing. Men 101, thank you very much. We'll catch you next week.